What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and as you can see, I'm unfortunately filming this in a little bit of a haphazard fashion. I'm currently on vacation up in Washington, D.C., and I was trying not to work at all, but after watching that incredible 38-minute Nintendo Direct, I just wanted to make a short freaking rant, because first and foremost, we are going to be getting a remake of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, by far one of my favorite Zeldas of all time. This may have been released back on the Game Boy a million years ago, but it is still so freaking good. And the best thing about this trailer is that A, we can see that it is a one-for-one remake where it looks like every single puzzle, every single enemy is just as freaking charming as they always were, but refreshed with Switch graphics. And the other thing about it is they actually even gave us a nice little teaser of the new remixed audio. I actually heard the singing song that's like famous in the game, and it's just so freaking great. Now, I just want to try and run through some of the main highlights of this because it's actually impossible to cover everything. Now, the biggest thing that really kind of cracked me up is that they were trying to literally pack every square second of this with announcements. We saw stuff like Assassin's Creed 3, Bloodstained coming to the Switch, and also stuff like this new game that's called Naki. This is something that's going to be made by the Tokyo RPG Factory. This is the same people who made stuff like I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere. But what's really interesting is this, that it looks like they're finally trying to make it more Final Fantasy in style, because keep in mind, Tokyo RPG Factory is owned by Square Enix, but the whole purpose of this organization is to churn out very cheap indie RPGs. This one though, it finally looks like they're trying to cement themselves more with the idea of being a Square Enix owned property. This one specifically looks really, really rad because it is still a turn-based role-playing game, but it has this weird element of transferring yourself between worlds. It's sort of like Chrono Cross, where you're actually going to be going back and forth between the living world and the dead world to try and solve different puzzles and save lost souls. Now, so let's just talk about the main attraction. Apparently the primary purpose of this Nintendo Direct was, of course, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, I tried to take a bunch of notes on this because it's cool that we're finally getting another Fire Emblem and we're getting another console Fire Emblem, but they still didn't show us a ton of it. We did see some nice teases of what the heck the combat's going to be like and who some of the major characters are, but we still don't know a grand deal about it, even though it is coming out relatively soon, which is July 26th. So it looks like we're going to be centered in a little tiny college in the center of the Three Houses, which are basically the primary kingdoms of the time. And within this little college, it's where they train all the different generals. So we're going to be a neutral mercenary who happens to be at the school. So it looks like we're going to be able to choose which one of the houses we want to ally with, and maybe this will be a way of trying to have like multiple campaigns, or maybe by choosing one house, you end up fighting against the other houses. It's not something that's super revealing, but the trailer finally gets me excited. Obviously, before that, we only saw some cutscenes of the idea of Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now that we have an idea of what it is, I'm finally excited about it, especially because it is coming relatively soon. Speaking of coming soon, though, the biggest reveal is the fact that they have so many demos that are coming out today, and also they're surprise launching Final Fantasy IX, but the demo that really kind of shocked me the most is Daemon X Machina. We've seen this here and there. We knew that this is going to be a giant mech fighting game in a very anime-ish style, but now they've announced there's going to be a giant demo, which is available today, which I'm going to be installing in this hotel room because I'm that kind of guy. But the other thing about it is that it looks like this is going to be very, very customization centered. Now, what I mean by that is in the trailer they were showing customizing things about the mech and stuff about the Mech Driver themselves to make it where every part of it can be tinkered with. I'm not sure if there's going to be online play or if they've mentioned anything like that, but it seems like from this trailer, it looks like it's going to be a series of Zone of the Ender style missions, of course followed up by something much more grand, giant boss fights and stuff. So I'm very, very hyped, but I do hope that it has some sort of at least minor multiplayer aspects to it. I think that that would be pretty dang radical. Now, something else that was really crazy about this Direct is that they really just tried to flood us with announcements. So many things like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Dragon Quest Builders 2 finally coming to America, Assassin's Creed 3 coming to Nintendo Switch, which is very bizarre because, hey, it's the American Revolution in your pocket. But one of the things that really kind of just impressed me was Dragon Quest XI-S. Now, we knew that this existed, but finally getting our eyes on it, it looks like this is going to be more than just a port. This is going to be Dragon Quest XI, which obviously came out last year on the PlayStation 4, but it's going to have a bunch of additional functions. The most unique being the fact that apparently you are going to be able to play through either all of the game, or at least sections of the game, in a modern art style or a retro art style. So you can make it actually look like Dragon Quest II. You can make it look like a Super Nintendo freaking game, but on your Switch. I mean, it is such a quirky little thing, and I feel like some people are going to look at that and not really appreciate how freaking awesome that is. Now, the last thing that they showed that just completely got me hyped out of my mind is Super Mario Maker 2. This is obviously what they opened with, and what's craziest about this is I had freaking sources telling me about a Mario Maker on Switch for 2 years now, but what I never expected is that they'd make a full-blown sequel. Something I'd heard originally is when they were first trying to test out the abilities of the Nintendo Switch, they actually had a prototype version of this game running on it, because they wanted to make sure that the touchscreen had full functionality, that you could do everything that you could with a Wii U game tablet on a standalone console. Now, this trailer was relatively short, but the major thing that really kind of stuck in my mind is that it seems like they are moving away from the idea of being so touch-focused. It looks like Mario Maker 2 is going to have a lot more button presses, and I feel like this is a very nice touch. Now, obviously, it's going to have a bunch of extra toolkit options. You could put more Super Mario World stuff in there and new Super Mario Brothers stuff in there, but beyond this, I'm just excited for the fact that we're going to be able to make even more worlds, download even more crazy stuff, and obviously it's going to have a chance to reach a much wider audience. Even if you loved Mario Maker on the Wii U, which honestly is my favorite Wii U game, it was very, very limited. Not a lot of people had a freaking Wii U. Now it's going to get a chance to finally get the wide stream appeal and that it actually deserves. Either way, everything about this Direct was absolutely epic. The only thing that was, there was a couple games in there that I personally didn't care a bunch for, like, they actually showed a Tetris Battle Royale game, which, come on, I don't care how much you love Battle Royale or Tetris, you don't need to compete against 99 other players, but there was some stuff that was super, super epic. I'm excited that we finally have a release date for Final Fantasy VII, which is March 26th, but even still, it was a wall-to-wall Direct that finally shows the fact that Nintendo is not sitting on their butts. They are trying to crank out some epic stuff in 2019, and most of all, I just gotta play that Zelda. But what did you think? Did you get a chance to watch this Nintendo Direct, and did it make you as excited as me? Because I'm still just so hyped I'm about to lose my mind, and I feel bad because my 18 people that are staying in this room, they are all just sitting here trying to be quiet while I film this video. Okay, cool, well thanks so much for watching. Give this video a like, sure, if you haven't already, subscribe, and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.